Thank you for choosing CTN. And now, it's time with Herman and Sharron.
I love you.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
We have one of our favorite nutritionists.
He came all the way from California.
Thank you for saying that. Yes.
Just moved out there. Lucky guy.
In fact, he was telling us in the green room that when he got off the plane last night, and he hit this wall of heat.
Right.
I mean, and it's happened to us when we've come back from Washington State, which I love dearly, and we come back to this area and you hit that wall of heat and you go, oh.
Well, this has been one hot summer this year, I'll tell you.
Yes.
Very warm.
But I want you to meet once again, he hasn't been on for a while, but my good friend Bruce Brightman. There he is right there. Can I read about him, Dave? I'm going to tell him about him. He is the founder of LifeSource vitamins. Hold on him right there. I have to tell you how I first found this guy. I was watching one of my, or looking through one of my Christian magazines. I think it was World Magazine, I believe, or Christianity Today, something like that. And I saw this whole list of vitamins, and then I saw a testimony, and I go, wow, I got to have that guy on. That was my first meeting of Bruce. But it was the pain of losing his father, Al Brightman, in 1992 to pancreatic cancer. Wow. That motivated Bruce to start a nutrition company to help people become healthier. And LifeSource Vitamin is a Christ-centered company donating all the proceeds to Christian ministries. And today's topic, I guess Dave's got that out there someplace. It's sugar, how it can destroy the body. We're going to talk about that today. But Dave, I gave Dave a verse. I hope we've got it for the screen. But I wanted to start this in 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, 19 through 20. Bruce, you can look at the screen and read along with me. Yeah. It says, "Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself." Get that. Put that in parentheses. "For God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body." That's in the New Living Translation, which I love, by the way, because it just kind of puts it out there the way it is. Mm-hmm. I say that because so many Christians have the idea that I accept Christ and I live as best as possible for Christ. I mean, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't carouse, and I don't even associate with people that do that. It's kind of the genre, isn't it? But then we forget that, you know what? The body that we live in, this is the only one we're going to get, needs care. That means how we eat, exercise,
sleep,
what we do to ourselves. I mean, we sit in front of food upon food. We'll have places that we'll go, friends that we'll meet in some other state, and I've gotten myself so I only eat breakfast and lunch. That's it. And we both kind of get into that. Mm-hmm. Well, you meet friends, and it's like, oh, let's go for breakfast. Okay, well, that's great. I like breakfast. Let's get a lunch. Okay, okay, I'll get lunch. And to me, that's over. Then at like 2 hours later, they're saying, "Where do you want to eat?" And I'm going. I look at her and going, and that's just the first day. All during the week that you're with them, you're hearing, "Eat, eat, 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 eat." We've gotten, Bruce, into
it's a social thing.
Mm-hmm. Into a mindset that every time the body says, "You're just a little hungry, right? Well, for goodness sakes, go get yourself a banquet." Mm-hmm. So And most of what we eat is filled with sugar, isn't it?
Yeah, that's, the studies are showing that, yeah.
Bruce sent me all kinds of information, and we're going to put some of it on the screen. It says, why is sugar so important to limit in our daily diet? Diabetes, that's just the beginning. These are things I'm reading from his information. The average American consumes 32 teaspoons per day of sugar. 32. Now you're saying to yourself, no way. Check it sometime. Men should consume 9 teaspoons per day and women 6. And then in 1915, this is Bruce's information, the national average of sugar consumption per year was around 15 to 20 pounds per person. Today, the average person consumes 120 pounds a year of sugar, plus over 20 pounds of corn syrup. So let's start there.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm reading your stats, I had to take a double take. I'm going, this can't be.
It's shocking, and that, that includes women. So in essence, women are included. So that could mean some slighter men and women are consuming their entire body weight of sugar annually. And that's the liver, just the liver alone, to process 120 pounds of sugar. The liver is the ultimate detoxifier. It detoxifies the supplements. It does all the prescriptions and all the stuff that we eat and drink. That's where it's going. It's being processed. It's doing what it's supposed to do. But when it's overloaded with sugar, it can no longer do the other things that it needs to do. So therefore, it can't process all the sugar. So what does that sugar do? That is basically calorie-free. Sugar's very little calorie. So that's the whole non-fat thing that they do.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden it stores that sugar as fat.
Now you said very little calories. I always think of sugar as high calorie.
I know, most people do. It's very low in calories. So whenever you see reduced fat, healthier version,
Yeah.
they have backloaded it with sugar, which
Did you hear
has
Yeah.
which has fewer calories than.
But it's worse for you, really. in a
Way
lot of
worse, So all this reduced fat stuff is actually wreaking havoc on your
All
body.
right. Say your parents, or back even further, my parents, did they eat different? I mean, was the food they ate, the way they processed it and everything, different than what we're eating today?
Yes, I mean, drastically. And it's only because we have a grocery store that has 20 aisles and then a perimeter. Our parents ate only on the perimeter.
Yeah.
That's all they ate. You go to the right at any Publix or any grocery store, you have your vegetables and all this stuff. You go around the corner, you're going to the meat, the seafood, you're keeping on down the road, you're going to the cheeses and the milks, and everything that is provided by God
Yeah.
Is on the perimeter.
is on the perimeter. Everything man-made is in the 20 aisles in between. Anything that's canned, it's got the preservatives and sugars. Anything that's processed has been
Cookies.
processed with food, with sugar, without question. So those are the kind of things, that's the biggest thing, is stay on the outside, not on the inside. The inside is trouble. The outside is what was given to us by the good Lord.
That is
that
true.
perspective I've never thought about.
It's really
and
true.
You're absolutely right. This says the effects of consuming too much sugar are too numerous to count. Here are just a few conditions with a direct link to sugar. Now I'm going to read what the effects are: inflammation, arthritis. It increases bad cholesterol and triglycerides, brain health as we age,
Cognitive.
what is it?
Cognitive
Functioning.
Cognitive functioning.
Yeah, which I just had. Heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, leading cause of obesity in adults and children. My goodness.
So that's a big one. I mean,
Depression.
if you can
Depression,
think
cancer, and inflammatory bowel disease, autoimmune disease, wrinkles. That's
Just
a big
about
one.
everything.
And poor skin health. looking old, asthma, all of that.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The studies that have been done all over the world, not just in the U.S. The U.S. sometimes it feels to me that they, and I hate, it's kind of apropos, right? They candy coat the studies, yeah. And just like they candy coat our foods, right? And that's, part of the problem. But when you get into these worldwide studies, there was one study done that they studied 21 different studies, 347,000 people. And what they found was it wasn't the saturated fat that they are talking about that give you heart disease and diabetes. It's the sugar. So it's not the eating steaks. It's not eating lean meats like they've been going after for years.
Oh, sure.
It's the sugar industry. And I don't mean the industry, I just mean it's sugar.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get a little display here, folks. Right. This is pretty heavy. Now that is what 10
pounds.
15 calories per serving. That is low in calories.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's, and it's 1 teaspoon is 15 calories. Mm-hmm. Not a lot.
No.
If you take a teaspoon of something else, it could be 50, 75, 100
I have
calories.
never thought of that.
Right.
Now, it was a revelation to me when you said that the FDA, they want you to take the fat out, and what they do is they put sugar in.
Right, because it's low in calorie. And this right here represents what your body processes every 30 days in sugar. And
Right
that's,
there.
this is the table sugar that your body will process. There's more corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup. So this is 10 pounds every month the average American's liver is processing. This big bag, and it's heavy. Right?
I thought that a alcoholic or a heavy drinker, that they were the ones ruining their liver. But this is ruining it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called non-fatty liver disease, which is, usually alcoholics get something similar to that. It's called cirrhosis.
Right.
It's when the liver is being bombarded by alcohol. Mm-hmm. This is sugar, and they always will state it as sugar alcohols, if you've heard that expression. No different. This thing is bombarding the liver so it can't function right, and which causes massive weight gain. The number one cause of adults and children weight gain is this little bag.
Well, we've seen how America is going. When you look around you and how obese the people are, you know.
Listen to this. This is his notes also. 94% of rats that were addicted to cocaine chose sugar over cocaine.
And that's during the addiction phase.
There it is on your screen.
Yeah.
Just stare at that. So sugar would be in the family of cocaine addiction?
The study proved that in 2015 that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. 8 times. So that means a rat that was addicted at that time, instead of choosing the drug that he's addicted to, chose sugar while addicted to cocaine. So think about what that's doing to our children too. They are so addicted to sweets, and it's everywhere. It just is so easily gettable.
Yeah. Your notes say there are 8 teaspoons of sugar in a Pepsi and 10 in a Coke.
Mm-hmm. More
Shocking,
in a Coke, huh?
So 8 teaspoons, yeah, it's pretty shocking. Pretty shocking.
That's what I'm saying is, going back to 1 Corinthians 6, that applies to how we take care of this temple, right? Because this is it.
So then is Diet Coke better for you? Everybody should be eating diet stuff?
If you can get online and watch what having a Diet Coke does to your body. They have it all over the internet. You can kind of search it and say, what happens to your body? It's pretty shocking what happens, all of that stuff. We're seeing a massive decline in soda drinking in general because of information. Now, there's still a lot of people that drink it, but awareness is helping. It's kind of like awareness is helping eating more veggies and eating a little more organic if you can, even though it's a little more expensive. So the movement's coming, But they say by the year 2050, over 50% of the U.S. population will be obese. And that's not just overweight, that's obese.
You know, it's a funny thing. Sharron will go shopping, and I'll go to a few stores because I enjoy it too with her. But then, you know, I'll give her, okay, an hour, is that long enough? And so off she goes. So I'll kind of sit down and wait. And when she comes back to me, she said, how you doing? I said, I've said this so often, I said, I'm sitting here looking at the most overweight people I have ever seen in my life. I mean, you sit in a chair in a mall and just watch the people go by. I mean, to tell you, they're not walking, they're wobbling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's shocking.
So what you just said, years ahead, they're probably going to be in those motorized carts in order to get through the mall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big business these days, and it's only going to get bigger. You know, people. Sometimes it's hard to make the right choices. It just is.
Yeah.
You know, in grocery stores.
What do you? Okay,
Everybody's in a hurry.
Okay, Bruce. What do you do with this statement? Because they'll look at because I could be very overweight. I mean, I got to a point in my life where it's like I told her, I said, I knew that I either do it now, when age catches up, it's 20 times harder, and it gets worse. So I put boundaries, and that's what I've done for all of these years, because I keep those up. But I've had people say to me, you don't have the problem I do, and they're looking at me, and they're pretty well overweight. And I want to say to them, you can't do that to people, but I want to say to them, yes, I do. I would be that. Given what I want to eat and what I desire to eat and what I would like to eat on a regular basis, I would be that.
Mm-hmm.
He loves eclairs, I know that.
But I'm telling you, but you have to make boundaries, or you will be that 300 pounds or 200 pounds or whatever your frame will allow. I mean, the frame you've got, you could go up to 400 pounds and nobody would say you're obese because of your
Height
structure.
and everything, yeah.
What do you say when they think that I'm like this because I cannot do anything about it?
Yeah, that's the toughest part is the first step. The first step is cut out processed foods if you can. Processed foods, if you can't cut out processed foods, read the labels. And that's the number one goal. If they only take, the audience only takes one thing away, start looking at labels. If it has 5 grams of sugar in it, that's 1 teaspoon of this. 5 grams of sugar, everything has 5 grams. You look at spaghetti sauce, you look at low-fat dressings, you look at everything. It's all packed with a teaspoon here, a teaspoon here, a teaspoon here. We're eating 32 a day, so they're coming from somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically every week. So the processed foods is big. When you have a hunger pang and you want something sweet, have a glass of water. If that doesn't do it, have an orange. You cannot have enough fruit that will cause your body to make you gain weight. That's a misnomer. It's from God's hand to your mouth. It is the perfect thing to eat. An apple, almonds, anything that is grown.
Or if you don't have the choppers to do that, then get yourself a juicer.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah, juice.
it is fabulous.
Fabulous. It keeps all the pulp in there and the good stuff. If you have a juicer, it's perfect.
You say just what you just said. You said your intake of protein by eating and protein powder. Take a good multivitamin. In fact, Dave, maybe you can get a shot of the product that LifeSource has right over our shoulder here. There it is.
Yeah.
Good shot, Dave. But if you go on the website you're seeing on your screen right now, go to that website. You can get a magazine that you saw on the screen, which is, I mean, the way he does things is tops. I mean, his magazines are just phenomenal. You can actually find stuff in there, and you can actually know every item and what it means and what the product is. So get that magazine. That's a real source. But that's the kind of products you have. And you know what I like more than anything? I trust Bruce. I mean, I go in a drugstore or grocery store and see all of their vitamin shelves or whatever. I don't know who put those up there, and I don't know how they were made. But I trust Bruce. So, you know, take that for what it's worth, but to me it's worth a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
And I took some of your vitamins this morning, as I always do.
Yeah, good. I will say one last thing. If there's nothing else, too, make a list. Whatever's important in your world, there has to be a driving force in which to change your eating habits. For some people, it's grandkids, it's kids, it's I don't want to get diabetes like my mom and dad had. Whatever that list is, put it prominently on your refrigerator where you're getting ready in the morning for work. Refer to that list all the time because that's the positive reinforcement. That's why you're doing it. Wow. You don't always have to do it for yourself, but you can certainly do it for people that you love, that you would hate. My dad left too early at 68.
60, oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
He was taken from us too early. Don't let that happen.
Was he tall like you? Mm-hmm. Wow. Dave, I don't know if we were able to get this on the screen, what LifeSource products are helpful for, and it's blood sugar. I don't know if you have that copied, but some of the items are, there it is, right on, thank you, Dave. There you go. Let's go down the list. Bruce, help us with this as we go down the list.
Yeah, so we have
Blood sugar
300 different
support.
items. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, we have 300 different items, 300, 400 different items. But
There it is on your screen.
These are just kind of what helps in the blood sugar arena, which is, you know, what we're talking about here today. We have a blood sugar support, alpha lipoic acid, CoQ10. We probably have 15 things that just deal with blood sugar.
Stevia powder?
Stevia, yeah,
Stevia.
and zero insulin spike with stevia powder. It's a sugar replacement. It comes from a
Yep.
leaf of a plant. It's the only thing out there. Splenda doesn't do it. Splenda, they're having amazingly bad results with Splenda. All these other ones, aspartame or aspartame, depending on how you say it.
So cinnamon is good?
Cinnamon's great. It's
very
a
good for
sugar
you.
blocker. Yeah,
Chromium?
Chromium, cholinate, tart cherry, whey protein is great. And what the protein does is it keeps you full longer. And that's big. Most people, as they age, they eat less and less meat. It's just the way it happens, which when you are eating less and less meat, you also your muscle tone is going down, and you cannot build muscle without protein. So less protein, your muscles are deteriorating, and they don't have to deteriorate that fast. So a little bit of whey protein or chicken breast, lean meats, but don't discount the protein. You know, I just want
Yeah.
to make sure people eat more protein.
Yeah.
However they get it, great.
Yeah, I see I love MMA, you know, the real fighters, not the fake stuff. This is the guys that fight in a cage, okay? But that's what they do. I mean, they'll say, "What are you eating today?" And protein.
Yeah.
And I
those
mean,
muscles.
and you see the results when they get in that cage, and they can go 5 rounds sometimes if it's a championship fight, and they're still going.
Right. Yeah, my mom is 90. She'll have a half of a tomato for lunch. And
Wow.
that's, you know, as you age, that's just what
Yeah,
happens. You
yeah.
just start eating less and less, and it becomes more important
Maybe that's
for
why I eat
protein.
less and less.
you know.
Probably.
So yeah, it's very important to continue to eat as much as you can. I know it's harder as you get older.
I wouldn't ask everybody to do this, but I probably done it for at least 3 years now, where I eat 7 meals less than anyone else. 7 meals a week less, and I've done that for about 3 years, which makes me feel good because
Right.
I fast a couple of times Monday and Tuesday, depending on if Sharron has me going out with guests, you know, and saying you gotta eat, okay?
But Bruce just said you're better off eating a little more as you get older.
You
don't
are,
you?
and more times throughout the day is the best
Yeah.
possible way. So let's say you have 3 normal meals in a day, cut them, make them 6. So 6 half meals all day, right?
You know who
And
does that?
that's
You know who does
the
that?
perfect way to eat.
She was very overweight. I don't know if you remember Dolly Parton, used to be quite
Yeah,
overweight.
yeah.
And that's what she did. And somebody was asking not long ago, how do you maintain this? Because she has never gone back up. That was it.
Right.
I ate little meals all day
Because
long.
it keeps your blood sugar level.
Blood sugar levels are good. Your liver then has the time to process.
Yep.
Instead of 3 times bombarding it with this,
Yep.
you're bombarding it 6 times a day, 5 times a day.
Yep.
Slower process. It allows it to do its job and still deal with all the other things that we're doing. Much better for you to eat smaller meals 6 times a day, and it works. It just, like you said with Dolly Parton, it just works. Your metabolism stays high. You almost can't gain weight because your metabolism revs up so high when you eat 6 times a day versus 3 times. And you know, sumo wrestlers, they weigh, 500 pounds.
Yeah.
They eat 1 meal a day. They eat 10,000 calories in one sitting. That's all they eat all day. It turns it all to fat because those guys
They
aren't
want
muscular,
to.
right?
Wow.
So yeah, it's
But it's hard to do when you're working. You have a full-time job or something, I would think, to do it that way.
yes.
Well,
it
listen,
is.
is there any person with a higher schedule than Dolly Parton? She is going constantly.
Well, I know she doesn't have a full-time 9 to 5, though.
Yeah. So that's very true, but there's ways around that. There's great bars that don't have a ton of sugar, that have high protein count. Always keep almonds at your desk if you're still working.
Yeah.
Keep almonds at your desk. Any kind of nut, any kind of fruit. Pop a banana in there. That's considered that meal.
By the way, you
right?
forgot she wrote the song 9 to 5.
She was in the movie.
Yeah.
She wrote the song. And Dave, can you put that 1 Corinthians 6 back up? I don't know if I do crazy things for Dave. Dave Martin, he's the best director.
He can't go to
Thank you,
sleep
buddy.
anyway.
Okay, take a look at this once again. We'll go off with this. 1 Corinthians 6, 19 through 20, New Living Translation. Don't you realize that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit, who lives in you and was given to you by God? You do not belong to yourself, for God bought you with a high price. So you must honor God with your body. That means, yes, what you do as a testimony to people that watch you, that's important. But people don't see what you're doing to your body unless, the pastor stands on the platform and looks out on his audience and go, oh my goodness, these people are eating themselves to death, visually. But I realize that skinny people can ruin their bodies too. It's not just the visual.
Exactly right.
Because, sometimes they've got something going on and they look like they're perfectly healthy and they're skinny. So that's not the end all, but
It's what you put in
the
it.
body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Allow the Lord to direct you in what you put in here, as well as what you see from here. Jesus Christ is the answer to every need you may have. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching It's Time. If you have recently made a decision for Christ, Herman and Sharron would like to hear from you.